Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday at 4. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. Thanks for watching 13 News at 4. We're going to get to today's headlines plus major entertainment news.
That's right.
Everybody, he put a ring on it. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are officially engaged.
It happened.
And the couple made it Instagram official, which is how you know, right,
That's
Dustin?
exactly. It's Instagram official.
If it's Instagram
It
official,
happened.
it's real. So we're going to dig into their engagement and what's trending. We'll tell you what we know about him popping the big question.
The #1 trending story right now online.
Yes, it's a big deal.
But we start at 4 with the big meeting today at the White House. 80 Republican lawmakers here in Indiana were invited there to talk with the Trump administration about the president's agenda and how to help make it happen here locally.
Yes, the invite came late last month before the topic of redistricting became this hot button issue that you've been hearing in the news across the country. But we know the White House has been talking with their legislative leaders about it in the last few weeks.
Indiana is among a few Republican states open to the possibility of special sessions to redraw the congressional maps. Now, doing that could give the GOP more seats in Congress next year. But now you've got some Democratic states that have threatened to redraw their districts to retaliate. So you've got this political tit for tat going.
Yes. Okay. Emily Longnecker joins us live from the State House. This is where people are about to speak out against Indiana getting involved into what seems to be a growing national spat. Emily?
Yeah, Felicia and Dustin, it's called the Rally Against Redistricting, and it's set to start in about an hour and a half. You can see it's pretty quiet outside here at the State House, but more folks are expected to be here for that rally, and they are going to speak out against redistricting. And Indiana Democratic lawmakers from the state expressed a similar sentiment today at a gathering that they had at the Indianapolis International Airport, and they had a message for their Republican colleagues who traveled to D.C. to meet with the Trump administration today. Democrats didn't mince words Tuesday morning, accusing their Republican colleagues of selling out Hoosier voters to placate the president. These lawmakers say if Republicans call a special session to redraw Indiana's congressional districts, it will cost Hoosier taxpayers money to pay for that session, as well as cost the state to defend itself against any lawsuits filed against new maps that are drawn. If Republicans do call a special session, Democrats are asking them to forego the pay they would receive to be in that session.
It's time to put your money where your mouth is, not just the taxpayer's dime. And at a time when our state budget is already crunched, this is so irresponsible to ask our taxpayers to foot the bill.
Democrats also called on their Republican colleagues who traveled to D.C. to provide proof that no taxpayer money was used on that trip. Now, we do know that today's meeting in Washington was set to last all afternoon. Some of the lawmakers that we know that are in D.C. for that meeting, House Speaker Todd Houston, as well as Republican State Representatives Jim Lucas and Craig Haggard. We reached out to all the Republican lawmakers via their press people to ask if they intended to attend today's meeting. Remember, there were only 80 spots available for Republican lawmakers to meet with the administration. We didn't get really any definitive answers from a lot of those press people about whether their members were attending, but we have also reached out to some members to see if we can interview them after today's meeting to see what was discussed. We'll let you know if that happens. Dustin, Felicia?
Emily, thank you so much. Live at the State House reporting. She is on top of the happenings.
We're going to hear much more from her coming up at 5 o'clock. So what do you think about this? How do Hoosiers feel? A new survey from Change Research published by Politico today shows most people don't agree with redistricting right now. 81% of registered voters who were contacted think redistricting should be conducted in a balanced way. 52% say they're against Republicans revising their maps. The poll of 1,600 people was conducted online between the 18th and 21st of this month and has a 2.6% margin of error. And check this out. A volunteer group, not-for-profit group called Mad Voters is putting up these billboards across the state, including this one by the airport, that say, "Hey Hoosiers, changing the rules mid-game is cheating."
Okay, joining us now is Amy Courtney. She is the executive director of Mad Voters. So why are you so mad about this push to redistrict?
Yeah, So for starters, it is not just simple politics as usual. It's not redistricting or gerrymandering or what we normally do. This is part of an authoritarian playbook that has made its way to Indiana. And so this is really important that we push back against it. So.
Representative Matt Commons posted his support for redistricting on social media yesterday, Republican from Tippecanoe County, partly in Tippecanoe County. He said, "I've promised to fight for rural Hoosier values. Redistricting is one way we can ensure our rural conservative Hoosier values are fairly represented in Congress." How do you respond to that argument that, well, Democrats have been doing this for years? We see what the map looks like in Illinois. We see in Massachusetts that there are Republicans in Massachusetts, and yet every district there is Democrat, congressionally speaking.
Yeah, so Mad Voters is a nonpartisan organization. I think that's an important part of this conversation. And democracy should be a nonpartisan issue. We think that gerrymandering, regardless of which party is doing it, is wrong. And it's actually one of the factors that has weakened our democracy and led us to the rather dire situation that we're in now, where we're actually fighting just to keep any semblance of democracy in this country.
So obviously redistricting, gerrymandering, as you just said, it's been around forever. This approach is certainly a new approach, one that hasn't been seen in recent time. But how would you suggest that you maintain that balance, that you maintain the fairness of it all, when some people could say the current system is not fair? If you take a look at the map right now, some people might say that that's not fair.
Would you
what solutions would you like to see?
Nonpartisan commissions, perhaps, to redraw
Absolutely.
these?
Yeah, I would look to an organization like Common Cause, who's really been a leader in this space. And yeah, some other states have done that with nonpartisan or bipartisan commissions. The bottom line is, when we come back from this, and we will, we are going to have to look at some legislation that really strengthens our democracy to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And banning gerrymandering as we know it has got to be part of that legislation.
All right, Amy Courtney, thank you so much for being here. And I know you'll be at the rally at the State House later this evening. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Angela.
Felicia, another mild afternoon. Temperatures for most of us in the 70s right now, with a mix of sun and clouds. We have 71 Morris Reservoir, 73 Carmel, 73 Bainbridge, and 70 in Connorsville at 74 in Brown County. Had a couple of showers pop up across the northeastern part of the state, very similar to yesterday at this time. They have come, the sprinkles anyway, as far south as places like Marion and Hartford City. The steadier light rain continues to stay up near Fort Wayne, in between Fort Wayne and Warsaw at this hour. Not going to have a local impact, although you will see a few clouds out there this evening. Temperatures in the 70s through 5, 6 o'clock, falling into the 60s, and it is going to be another cool night. Eventual lows upper 40s to around 50, so jacket weather at the bus stop tomorrow morning. Plenty of sunshine early in the day, and like today, we'll see a few clouds build with another mild afternoon on tap for our Wednesday. Highs again tomorrow in the 70s.
Angela, thank you. Horrifying and unimaginable. That's how the Marion County prosecutor describes allegations against an Indianapolis conductor and composer accused of buying child porn. According to court documents, 55-year-old Julian Wachner faces 10 counts of possession of child sex abuse material and possession of cocaine. The investigation began when Robinhood, which is a cryptocurrency company, notified police that one of its users was using the currency to purchase child pornography. Wachner allegedly told police he had downloaded and deleted child sex abuse material from the dark web. According to the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra, Wachner is a multi-Grammy-nominated conductor, composer, and keyboardist. Our Ashton Hackman is on this story today. We'll have much more coming up at 5.
The woman who accused a former IMPD officer of rape underwent grueling cross-examination on the witness stand this afternoon. The woman says that she had sex with Myron Howard under the implied threat of going to jail. Howard returned to the woman's house on North Olney Street in January of last year, just a few minutes after officers arrested the woman's boyfriend for domestic battery. The woman says Howard told her that she could have been arrested too and asked where the bedroom was. But the woman admitted Howard never asked for or demanded sex during the incident. And this afternoon, several recycling sites in Indianapolis are closed, and the city says it's because of illegal dumping.
Now neighbors are the ones left paying the price. Samantha Johnson visited some of those sites today. So Sam, what happened?
3 sites closed in just 2 weeks, and some of the folks we talked to today were pretty shocked to find out that that was the case. The interesting part is they were all on Kroger lots, and it was actually the company who reached out to the city to ask to get rid of them because people were dumping things that don't belong in the recycling bin. Okay, we talked to the city, and they say some of the things they were finding were bizarre, like old toilets, construction trash, even in some cases, dead animals were found at those recycling bins, and that obviously contaminates everything in the bin, and then nothing in there can even be recycled. And when it gets bad like this, and like it is now, those bins are eventually removed by the city. Ultimately, that means fewer resources for neighbors in some of these neighborhoods, all because of what the city calls a few bad actors. So I talked to one man this morning who was surprised to see his recycling bin gone.
Clearly on the containers it says no styrofoam and stuff like that, and you see it in there all the time. And so now it's going to be more inconvenient for me to do it. It's disappointing. I hope it comes back.
All right, so that's where that recycling bin used to be. That was at the Kroger near 71st and Benford. You can see here on the map those 3 Kroger locations that are no longer available. The good news is there are still 7 recycling bins that are set up throughout the city. Those are still operating, so there are a few options out there for you.
But that's got to be so frustrating for people who rely on those in their neighborhood. So what are the options to get rid of some of these bigger items? Because these people who are dumping something like a toilet, they can't necessarily just put out at the end of the driveway.
And they don't go in the recycling bin. That's what the city is saying here. So they're recommending take advantage of those heavy trash days. Sometimes those services pick them up right on your curbside. Look that up. Take advantage of those. That is free. There's also a couple options here in the city that just cost you a couple bucks. Nothing expensive, but there are more resources for you. We'll have more on that coming up at 5:30 and at WTHR.com.
Okay, people want to know what those options are, especially the free options.
ones.
That's what people
We're
are
listening.
looking for. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.